She lied that the baby was mine. I waited until the gender reveal party to drop the DNA report on the cake. I'm standing over a blood spatter pattern in a downtown apartment, camera clicking methodically. Each angle matters. Each shot tells a piece of the truth. That's what I do. I'm a forensic photographer. My whole career is built on capturing reality exactly as it is, no interpretation, no assumptions. Just cold, hard evidence. Funny how that skill set never turned off when I got home. 4 years ago, I met Laura at a hospital fundraiser. I was there documenting the event for their annual report, and she was working the donation table, her scrubs traded for a cocktail dress that made her look like she belonged in a different world entirely. She caught me taking candids of the crowd and called me out. "Do you ever put the camera down?" she'd asked, this playful challenge in her voice. "Do you ever stop trying to save people?" I shot back. She laughed, not a polite fundraiser laugh, but something real and unguarded. "Only when I'm asleep. And sometimes not even then." We were married 18 months later. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. She moved into my place first, but we bought a house together last year, a 3-bedroom colonial in the suburbs with a yard she insisted we'd need for kids someday. Laura worked as a maternity nurse at the same hospital where we met. She'd come home with these incredible stories about helping bring new life into the world, her eyes lighting up as she described the first cries, the expressions on new parents' faces. She had this way of making everything sound magical, even the messy parts. 3 months ago, she told me she was pregnant. I can still see her standing in our kitchen, holding that test with shaking hands. She was crying before she even showed me the 2 lines. I pulled her close, felt her trembling against me, and for once, I didn't need photographic evidence. I just believed. "We're having a baby," she kept saying, like repetition would make it more real. The first few weeks were a blur of excitement. Baby name lists on the refrigerator. Paint samples for the nursery. Her reading pregnancy books out loud while I cooked dinner. Normal couple stuff, or what I thought was normal. But then little things started feeling off. She insisted on handling all the prenatal appointments alone. "You'll be bored out of your mind," she said when I offered to take time off work. "It's just peeing in cups and getting weighed. I'll call you if anything important happens." Made sense at the time. I was working a heavy caseload, 3 homicides in 2 weeks had the whole department stretched thin. Her schedule started changing too. More night shifts, she said. The hospital was short-staffed, and with the baby coming, we needed the overtime pay. I'd wake up at 2 a.m. to an empty bed, her side cold. She'd arrive home as I was leaving for work, exhausted, heading straight for the shower. "Rough night?" I'd ask. 3 deliveries back to back, she'd say, already halfway up the stairs. "I need sleep." I documented crime scenes for a living, but I wasn't documenting my own life. Not yet. This morning, I stopped at our usual coffee place before heading to a scene. The line was long, giving me time to check emails, when I heard a familiar voice behind me. "Ethan? Hey." Becca. One of Laura's colleagues from the maternity ward. Sweet woman, been to our house for dinner a few times. She looked tired but smiled warmly. "How's Laura doing?" she asked while we waited. "The pregnancy treating her well?" "She's hanging in there. All those night shifts are wearing her out though." Becca's face did this subtle shift, the kind of micro-expression I'd trained myself to catch at crime scenes. Confusion flickering to something else. Understanding, maybe? Or discomfort? "Night shifts?" She forced a laugh. "I haven't seen Laura on nights lately. Must be nice having her home more with the baby coming." The words hung there between us. My coffee order got called, saving me from responding immediately. "Maybe I got the schedules mixed up," I said, grabbing my cup. "Been working too many scenes. But I don't get things mixed up. Ever. It's literally my job not to." Becca left with some excuse about being late. I sat in my car, coffee getting cold, staring at nothing. Laura had definitely said night shifts. Multiple times. For weeks. So where the hell had she been going? That conversation with Becca gnawed at me all day. I tried to focus on work, photographing a burglary scene, cataloging evidence, but my mind kept circling back. Night shifts that didn't exist. Where was she going? When I got home that evening, Laura was in the kitchen making her weird pregnancy craving combination, pickles and vanilla ice cream. She looked up when I walked in, that same warm smile that used to make everything else disappear. "How was your day?" she asked, reaching for a hug. "Long. You?" "Slept most of it." This little one is draining my energy. She placed my hand on her belly. Still flat, but she swore she could feel changes. Working tonight? I kept my voice neutral. Yeah, 11 to 7. They really need me on the floor. She turned back to her snack. I might crash in the break room if it gets too quiet though. I nodded, watching her. In my line of work, you learn to read body language like a second language. She wasn't looking at me. Her shoulders were tense. Small tells, but tells nonetheless. Over the next week, I started paying attention. Really paying attention. Her phone, which used to sit face up on the counter, was now always face down. When it buzzed, she'd glance at it quickly, then flip it over. She added a passcode too, said it was for patient privacy regulations, in case she accidentally brought home sensitive information. Since when do you bring patient files home? I'd asked. New policy. Better safe than sorry. Thursday night, she left for another shift. I waited 20 minutes, then pulled up the hospital's staff portal. They had this system where you could see which departments were fully staffed for insurance and safety reasons. The maternity ward showed full coverage. No overtime slots. No Laura. My chest felt tight. I grabbed my keys and drove to the hospital. Circled the employee parking lot twice. Her car wasn't there. I sat in that lot for an hour, just thinking. Maybe she parked somewhere else. Maybe she was floating to another department. Maybe I was losing my mind. But I knew better. I'd photographed enough crime scenes to know that when patterns break, there's always a reason. Saturday arrived with Laura's hospital hosting their monthly employee gathering, casual drinks at a nearby restaurant. Spouses invited. Laura seemed reluctant when I said I'd come. It'll be boring medical talk, she said. You sure you want to sit through that? I want to celebrate your promotion to senior nurse, I said. She'd gotten it 2 months ago. Besides, I haven't seen your work friends in ages. The restaurant was packed with hospital staff. Laura stayed close to me at first, introducing me to new faces, her hand on my arm. Then Dr. Rowan walked in. I knew him vaguely. OB/GYN resident, been at the hospital about a year. Tall, young, the kind of guy who probably never struggled for female attention. When he saw us, something flickered across his face. He covered it with a smile, but I caught it. Laura. Ethan. He approached with practiced casualness. How's the pregnancy going? Good, Laura said quickly. Too quickly. 12 weeks now. They held eye contact for maybe a second too long. The kind of look that carries weight. History. Something. You must be excited, Rowan said to me, but his eyes drifted back to her. Thrilled, I said, watching them both. The rest of the evening, they orbited each other without ever directly interacting again. Professional. Careful. But I noticed how she always knew where he was in the room. How he'd glance her way when he thought no one was looking. I photographed crime scenes for a living. I knew what evidence looked like. Sunday afternoon, Laura went grocery shopping. Said she had a sudden craving for Thai food ingredients, wanted to cook something special. Her car keys were gone, but her purse was still on the counter. I don't know what made me look inside. No, that's a lie. I knew exactly what I was doing. There, tucked in the inside pocket, was a parking receipt. Downtown Hilton. Dated 3 days ago, during one of her supposed night shifts. Timestamp, 11:47 p.m. My hands didn't shake. They never did at crime scenes either. She came back an hour later with grocery bags, chattering about finding lemongrass. I helped her unpack, smiled at the right moments, kissed her when she reached up to touch my face. That evening, she left for another night shift. This time, I followed her. I gave her a 15-minute head start. Kissed her goodbye at the door, told her to be safe, watched her taillights disappear around the corner. Then I grabbed my keys and my work camera, habit, maybe, or instinct. Following someone without being noticed isn't as hard as movies make it seem. You just need patience and distance. 3 cars between us at all times. Never directly behind at red lights. I knew her route to the hospital by heart, so when she took a different exit, my suspicions crystallized into fact. She drove downtown. Not rushing, just steady. Like someone going somewhere familiar. The building she pulled into was one of those converted warehouse lofts. Trendy. Expensive. The kind of place a resident doctor might stretch their budget for. She used a key fob to access the parking garage. I waited outside, watching through the gate as she parked and headed for the elevator, 4th floor. I could see the lights from the street. I sat there for 3 hours. Part of me wanted to go up, to pound on the door, to create the kind of scene that would make the neighbors call the cops. But that wasn't me. I didn't do emotional explosions. I did evidence. When I got home, I went into work mode. Full documentation. Times, dates, locations. I created a file on my laptop, password protected, backed up to a cloud service she didn't know about. Every receipt I could find. Every inconsistency in her stories. Building a case. But I needed more than circumstantial evidence. I needed proof that would stand up to any scrutiny, any excuse she might create. That's when I started researching prenatal paternity tests. Turns out, technology has come a long way. You don't need to wait until the baby's born anymore. They can test using the mother's blood as early as 7 weeks. But that required her cooperation. There was another option, amniocentesis. More invasive, but she'd already mentioned having one scheduled. Genetic screening, she'd said last week. Making sure everything's developing normally. Standard procedure for women over 30. She was 32. The test was in 2 weeks. All I needed was access to the sample. I spent the next days being the perfect husband. Foot rubs when she complained about swelling. Running out for her cravings at midnight. Asking about baby names, discussing nursery themes. She seemed to relax, probably thinking she'd been imagining any distance between us. Meanwhile, I was building my plan. I reached out to a private lab across town. Discrete Diagnostic Services, they specialized in legal paternity cases. The tech I spoke with was professional, didn't ask questions beyond the necessary. We'll need samples from you and the fetal material, he explained. Mother's consent isn't required if you're listed as the presumed father. I am. We're married. Then we just need the samples. Results in 72 hours. Expedited service is available for an additional fee. I paid for expedited. The morning of her amniocentesis, I offered to drive her. You don't have to, she said, but I could see she wanted me to insist. I want to be there. This is our baby. She squeezed my hand. You're right. Our baby. The procedure itself was routine. I watched the needle go in, guided by ultrasound, extracting the clear fluid. The doctor explained they'd run the standard genetic panels, checking for chromosomal abnormalities. Would it be possible to get a small sample for our own records? I asked casually. I like to document everything. Job habit. The doctor looked uncertain, but Laura laughed. He photographs everything. Let him have his weird filing system. They gave me a small vial. Chain of custody would be questionable in court, but I wasn't building a legal case. I just needed to know. I dropped the samples at the lab that afternoon while Laura rested at home. My cheek swab, carefully labeled. The amnio fluid, marked with the case number they'd assigned. 72 hours, the tech reminded me. We'll email when the results are ready for pickup. 3 days. That's all. Laura was extra affectionate that evening. Talked about feeling the baby move, though it was too early for that. Made plans for announcing the gender at a party next month. She'd already started a Pinterest board for it. I want it to be perfect, she said, scrolling through cake designs. Something memorable. It will be, I said. 3 days passed like 3 years. Every notification on my phone made my pulse spike. Then, Thursday afternoon, sitting at another crime scene, the email arrived. DNA analysis complete, results available for pickup. My hands were perfectly steady as I typed my reply, on my way. The lab was 20 minutes away. I told my partner I had a family emergency, which wasn't exactly a lie. He waved me off without questions, perks of never calling in sick, never leaving early. Years of reliability bought me this moment. The waiting room was sterile, uncomfortable chairs and old magazines nobody ever read. The receptionist recognized me, offered that professional smile that meant nothing. Mr. Hadley? I'll get your results. She returned with a sealed envelope. My name printed on the outside. Inside, the answer to a question I already knew but needed confirmed. I made it to my car before opening it. Sitting in the driver's seat, afternoon sun cutting through the windshield, I slid my finger under the seal. The paper was crisp, official. My eyes went straight to the bottom line. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. Not even a margin of error. Not even a statistical anomaly to cling to. 0. I sat there for maybe 10 minutes, just holding the paper. No rage, no tears, just this strange clarity. Like when you finally understand how a crime scene fits together, all the pieces suddenly making sense. I drove home in silence. No radio, no podcast, just the sound of tires on asphalt. Lara wouldn't be home for hours. She had a real shift today, I'd verified. The house felt different knowing what I knew. Like walking through a movie set, all facade, nothing solid behind the walls. Her gender reveal party was in 10 days. She'd been planning it obsessively. Invited 40 people. Her entire unit from the hospital. Her parents flying in from Denver. My brother driving down from Boston. She'd already ordered the decorations, the catered food, the photographer, ironically, not me. Said I should enjoy being a guest for once. The cake was the centerpiece. She'd shown me inspiration photos for weeks. Some elaborate fondant creation that would reveal pink or blue when cut. She'd picked the bakery, set the appointment, but hadn't ordered yet. Wanted to be sure about the design. You should let me handle the cake, I said that night over dinner. You're doing everything else. Let me contribute something. She looked surprised. You want to order the cake? I want to be involved. Plus, I know a guy, specialty baker, does incredible work. Documentary I shot last year at his shop. He owes me a favor. It wasn't entirely true, but close enough. I had photographed his daughter's wedding as a side job. He'd said to call if I ever needed anything. That's sweet, she said, reaching across the table. Just make sure they know to call the doctor's office directly for the gender. I don't want to know beforehand. Of course. I met the baker, Konstantin, 2 days later at his shop after hours. Russian guy, been in the States 20 years, understood discretion. I explained what I needed. This is unusual, he said, thick accent wrapping around the words. Can you do it? Technically, yes. The paper would need to be food-safe laminate. Sealed properly. Hidden between layers. He studied me. This is not about gender, is it? No. He nodded slowly. Personal business. I understand. My ex-wife, she had her own secrets. He pulled out his order pad. 2 tiers? 3? 2. Classic design on the outside. Elegant. She likes roses. And inside? I handed him the DNA report. This goes between the layers. Visible when cut. Clear enough to read. He examined it, understanding dawning. This will cause situation. Yes. Additional cost for special request. And my discretion. I pulled out cash. Whatever you need. We worked out the details. The report would be laminated, placed precisely so the first cut would reveal it. The cake itself would be vanilla, neutral, no pink or blue to distract from the real reveal. He'd add a thin layer of clear sugar glass over the report to protect it, make it shine under the lights. Saturday morning pickup? He confirmed. Perfect. The week passed in a blur of normalcy. Lara fussed over last-minute details. I helped set up tables in the backyard, strung lights she'd ordered specially. Her excitement was infectious, if you didn't know what was coming. She'd catch me watching her sometimes, mistake my intensity for anticipation. Nervous about becoming a dad? She asked Thursday night, curled against me on the couch. Just thinking about how everything's going to change. Good changes, she said, kissing my shoulder. The best changes. Friday night, she could barely sleep. Kept talking about the party, wondering if she'd ordered enough food, if the decorations were right. I held her until she finally drifted off, her hand on her stomach, protecting something that was never mine. Saturday morning arrived bright and clear. Perfect weather for a garden party. I left early, told her I was getting coffee and picking up ice. The cake was magnificent. 2 pristine white tiers decorated with pale pink and blue roses intertwined. Konstantin had outdone himself. The document is secure, he said, helping me load it carefully. First cut reveals all. I thanked him, paid the balance, and drove home with the truth hidden in sugar and flour. The guests would start arriving in 2 hours. Lara was in the shower when I got home, singing something I couldn't make out. The house already smelled like her mother's casserole. They'd driven in yesterday, staying at a hotel downtown despite our offers of the guest room. Her dad helped me unload the cake, whistling appreciatively. Beautiful work, he said. Lara's going to love it. I hope so. We positioned it on the dining room table, the centerpiece she'd envisioned. The morning light caught the delicate sugar work, making it glow. Perfect facade, devastating center. By noon, the backyard was filling up. Lara's colleagues arrived in groups, gift bags in hand, phones already out documenting everything. My brother pulled me aside, beer in hand. "You good?" he asked. "You seem, I don't know, quiet." "Just taking it all in. Dad would have loved this," he said, clinking his bottle against mine. "Grandkids and all that. Our parents died 5 years ago. Car accident. At least they wouldn't witness what came next." Lara floated through the crowd in a white sundress she'd bought specially, hands occasionally drifting to her stomach. She glowed, that pregnancy radiance everyone talks about. Or maybe it was something else. Happiness built on deception probably shines just as bright. Dr. Rowan arrived at 12:45, fashionably late like always. He brought an expensive-looking gift, wrapped in silver paper. When he hugged Lara in greeting, it lasted a beat too long. Nobody else would notice, but I was watching for it. "Ethan," he said, shaking my hand. His grip was firm, compensating. "Exciting day." "Life-changing," I agreed. The party flowed around me. I played my part, attentive husband, excited father-to-be. Refilled drinks, made small talk, laughed at the right moments. Several people commented on how calm I seemed. "He's always steady," Lara told them, arm linked through mine. "My rock." At 2 p.m., she decided it was time. The crowd gathered, forming a semicircle around the table. Someone's kid was live streaming on Instagram. 3 different phones recording video. Becca stood near the back, something uncertain in her expression. Lara picked up the knife, a vintage silver piece from her grandmother's collection. She'd insisted on using it. For tradition, she'd said. "Should we say something first?" her mother suggested. Lara looked at me, eyes bright with tears already forming. "You want to?" I stepped beside her, placed my hand over hers on the knife. "I just want to say that today, everyone here will witness something unforgettable. The truth has a way of revealing itself, usually when we least expect it." A few people chuckled, thinking it was nervousness. Lara squeezed my hand, then positioned the knife above the cake. "Ready?" she asked the crowd. They cheered confirmation. Phones raised higher. Her mother dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. The knife went in smooth, straight through the center. She cut down, hit the bottom, then drew it across. The traditional first slice. As she lifted the piece away, there was a moment, just a fraction of a second, where nothing seemed wrong. Then someone gasped. The laminated report gleamed between the layers, text facing up, clearly visible. The lab's letterhead. The test results. That 0% stating its truth to 40 witnesses. "What is that?" someone asked. Lara leaned closer, knife still in hand. Her face changed in stages: confusion, recognition, horror. The plate slipped from her other hand, shattering on the patio stones. "What the hell?" Rowan stepped forward, then stopped, realizing movement would draw attention. Her mother pushed through the crowd, saw the paper, stumbled backward into her husband. "Ethan?" Lara's voice was barely a whisper. I met her eyes, steady as always. "Guess you just helped deliver the truth." The backyard erupted. Phones dropping, people gasping, someone actually screamed. But I was already walking away, through the chaos, past the overturned chairs and spilled drinks. "You son of a," Rowan's voice behind me, but others held him back. "Smart move. Assaulting me in front of 40 witnesses wouldn't help his situation." I didn't run. Didn't rush. Just walked through my house, grabbed my keys and the go bag I'd packed that morning, and left. My phone started buzzing before I reached my car. Calls, texts, notifications. I ignored them all until one message preview caught my eye. From Becca, "Check your email. There's more you need to know about Rowan." I pulled into a parking lot 3 blocks away and opened Becca's email. The subject line was simple: "You deserve the whole truth." Her message was detailed, methodical. Like she'd been documenting everything too. "Ethan, I've wanted to tell you for weeks but didn't know how. Rowan's done this before. 2 other nurses in our department. Falsifies his schedule to match theirs. HR has been building a case but needed concrete evidence. I have screenshots of the real scheduling system showing the discrepancies. There's also a complaint filed by Carol from Pediatrics 6 months ago. She caught him using the hospital's ultrasound equipment after hours for non-patients. I think you can guess why." Attached were 15 screenshots. Schedule logs. Text messages between staff discussing Rowan's behavior. A formal complaint that mysteriously never went anywhere. The last attachment stopped me cold. An ultrasound image dated 3 weeks ago, after hours, with Laura's name in the corner. I forwarded everything to the hospital's chief of staff, the head of human resources, and the medical board's ethics committee. Added my own evidence, the DNA report, documentation of Laura's falsified schedules, the parking receipts. CC'd my lawyer for good measure. Then I turned off my phone. The hotel room I checked into was basic but clean. I needed space to think, to process. But honestly, I felt surprisingly clear. No rage, no devastation. Just free. My lawyer called the hotel's landline that evening. Only 3 people had the number. The hospital's launching a full investigation, she said. Rowan's been suspended effective immediately. They're pulling 3 months of security footage and access logs. And Ethan? Laura's been terminated. Already? Falsifying timesheets is fraud. The DNA test just gave them the reason to dig. She's been stealing time for months, claiming overtime that didn't exist. That's theft. The divorce papers were ready. I'd had them drawn up the day after getting the DNA results. Straightforward dissolution. She could keep her personal belongings, her car. I wanted the house sold, proceeds split. No alimony given the fraud. Clean break. She's been trying to reach you, my lawyer said. Showed up at my office crying, begging to know where you are. And? I reminded her that all communication goes through me now. 3 days later, Laura found me anyway. I was loading groceries into my car when she appeared. No makeup, hair pulled back, looking exhausted. 5 minutes, she said. Please. I could have walked away. Should have, probably. But I wanted to see if she'd lie even now. It didn't mean anything, she started. Which time? I asked. According to the hotel receipts, there were at least 12 occasions. Her face crumbled. I was going to end it. When? After the baby was born? After I'd raised another man's child for years? When exactly were you planning to develop a conscience? I loved you. No. Love doesn't clock in for fake shifts. Love doesn't steal money from household accounts to pay for hotel rooms. Love doesn't make a fool of someone in front of their entire family. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. The medical board contacted me, she said quietly. They're investigating both of us. Rowan and me. We could lose our licenses. You committed fraud. That has consequences. I'm pregnant and unemployed. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I revealed the truth. You humiliated yourself by living a lie. I got in my car and left her standing there. That was the last time we spoke directly. The house sold in 6 weeks. The divorce finalized in 4 months, fast-tracked, thanks to her inability to contest the fraud evidence. Rowan lost his residency and his medical license. Last I heard, Laura moved back to Denver, had the baby, lives with her parents. Becca sends occasional updates. The hospital implemented new oversight measures. They call it the Hadley Protocol, mandatory verification of all overtime claims. I relocated 2 hours north, still doing forensic photography but for a different department. Smaller city, quieter cases. My colleagues don't know the story. Don't need to. Sometimes people ask why I'm so thorough, why I document everything so meticulously. Just doing my job, I tell them. Capturing the truth, one frame at a time. Because that's what I do. I preserve evidence. I reveal reality. And I never ignore the signs again. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.